Good morning. We're talking about the 49ers defense to start this glorious Wednesday. Team will be back in the facility. NFC Championship Game is coming out. And I have to say, based on what I wrote last night and was published this morning, this massive story, who remembers all that unnecessary negativity about Arik Armstead? Guys, this is why we don't take people seriously, a lot of people seriously, because of stuff like this. There was such a long time when Eric Armstead was just getting pelted over and over again. Oh, he's a bust. Oh, he's overpaid. Oh, the 49ers chose him over DeForest Buckner, which was a completely false dichotomy. And oh, the 49ers are soft and this guy, is overrated, all this, all that, blah, 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 blah. People, I guess they got their attention, but they were wrong. Eric Armstead has led the 49ers into becoming the NFL's number one run defense ever since moving to defensive tackle. And he now has 6 sacks over the course of the past month. And is a huge reason why I think they're going to beat the Rams and advance to the Super Bowl on Sunday. So I sat down and I gave Eric Armstead's dad a call. And I gave his brother a call. And we talked about what fuels him. And, what I think is really cool about Eric Armstead is that he's intrinsically motivated. Yes, he's posted some of the old receipts in the past of people calling him a bust or people calling him overpaid. Yes, he's acknowledged that there have been some of these haters out there. But what I think is super cool about Eric, and this is something that I really gathered from his dad and from his brother in this story, which is up on The Athletic right now, is that this guy's motivated by family. He just had a baby girl in 2021 last year. He's about providing for his family. He's about giving back to the community. 2-time Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee for the 49ers in 2 consecutive years. So that's a reflection of all that Eric Armstead has done for both the Sacramento community where he's from and for the Bay Area. And, you could tell that kind of stuff drives him. You could tell that his heart's in a good place. And if you talk to any of Eric Armstead teammates, that's the case as well. So, there's just been a pile-on. It's been a casual fan pile-on Eric Armstead. So I think he deserves some shine. And that's why I wrote this piece. If we're covering the 49ers fairly, we're going out there and we're, making sure the praises are sung as loud as some of that criticism was yelled when it wasn't warranted. And that's the title of the article. Eric Armstead, fueled by family, has silenced critics as the 49ers enter yet another NFC title game. Since the 49ers have moved Armstead to full-time defensive tackle, which happened after that Colts game in Week 7, in which they gave up about 150 yards on the ground to Indianapolis, the 49ers have the best run defense in football. All the efficiency metrics agree on that count. The combination of Armstead and DJ Jones is unique because of body type, and this is something that I had fun exploring in the article. Remember that DJ Jones is 6 feet, 305 pounds. Eric Armstead is 6'7", 290. So Armstead is 7 inches taller, yet 15 pounds shorter than DJ Jones. And what does that mean? Well, it means that they have 2 markedly different styles and body types lined up right next to each other on the interior. And since the 49ers have such a good defensive line coach in Chris Kasarik, they've absolutely been able to mix and match those styles to give opponents problems. DJ Jones is a fire hydrant, right? Low center of gravity, hard to move. Well, I guess Eric Armstead's hard to move too, but DJ Jones is the guy that you stick there in the middle at that nose position. And it's hard for that run defense to collapse when it has a pillar like that. But it's really, really hard for that run defense to give up an inch when it has a pillar like the 6 foot, 305 pound DJ Jones next to Eric Armstead, who brings that 6'7", 290 pound frame with extremely long strides and the ability to people move, right? Normally you expect the stockier guys to be able to people move. The taller, lankier guys, and Eric Armstead's not lanky by any stretch of the imagination. He's lanky relative to DJ Jones. But the lankier guys, generally those aren't as great of people movers. They've got the levers, they've got the long arms, but it's tougher for them to get the proper leverage to be able to use those levers. But as Arik Armstead's brother, Armand, who played in the CFL and played for USC, 4 years older, 3 years older than Eric, told me, long levers mean strong levers if you use them correctly. And Arik Armstead, his dad's a professional basketball trainer. He works with NBA players, Gus. You could tell that Eric has put his basketball background, growing up, working with his dad, playing basketball at the University of Oregon on top of football. You can tell that he's put his basketball background to good use. And this is why we're going to watch some film right now. So why don't I stop this screen share, open up another one, and let's just appreciate the power that Arik Armstead has been able to generate, even despite the fact that, I mean, he's got the length, and you don't usually see this combination in one piece. Okay, so this is a crucial situation against the Green Bay Packers. This is in the second half, Packers facing a third down, and the 49ers do need to hold them to a field goal to keep this a one-score game. You have Arik Armstead over here on the right side, and he's working against Lucas Patrick, 62, who's Green Bay's right guard. This is Armstead's power move. This is him people moving. This is him just straining and collapsing the pocket and destroying Aaron Rodgers. Just appreciate the leverage, appreciate the strength here. 6'7". Again, Lucas Patrick is not as tall. He's a guard. He's a right guard. He's nowhere near as tall as Arik Armstead. So theoretically, Armstead should have a leverage advantage. But no, Armstead right here, you could tell. You could tell he's played the basketball before. That's what his brother said. You can't box out standing straight up. You can't back a guy down in the post standing straight up. You have to understand leverage. You have to be able to get into that squat. You have to be able to get low and get in under his pads. That's exactly what he does. He gets in under Lucas Patrick's pads. And then at this point, this is just brute strength. This is just impressive athleticism. This is just a freak backing Lucas Patrick up straight into Aaron Rodgers in very, very quick order. So that's, I mean, quarterbacks can't beat pressure up the middle like that. His receivers right here, you can't really tell from the end zone angle. We'd have to look at the sideline angle. I don't have that right now. But just look, when Armstead is already wrapping Rodgers up, guys, you can tell Devontae Adams just shows up right here, but it's already done. Rodgers would have to have at least a half more second to be able to hit Devontae Adams. So pressure up the middle is a quarterback's kryptonite. I know I showed a video yesterday of Jimmy Garoppolo beating Aaron Donald pressure up the middle. But that's tough, and you have to have that outlet guy ready to throw to. Otherwise, you're just throwing to air or you're throwing a potential pick. So, I mean, this power move from Arik Armstead, he does this time and time and time again, and it's why he's so good and versatile is because he could be at that 5 technique spot on the edge for the 49ers, which is, was his home prior to this. He could be at that spot, and he could stop the run. Right? You can't run on a 5 technique that's that strong. He's able to neutralize the tackles with his strength. But the fact that he's able to bring that inside too, the fact that he's able to, just power over guards who typically have lower centers of gravity, even at 6'7", gives the 49ers a whole host of possibilities. Because, he's tall, so you can bat down passes or get into throwing lanes, right? So you have that combination. You have the combination of the height and the power for Arik Armstead. And that power he uses to stop the run, and he also uses to rush the passer. Now, we're going to watch his speed next. And this next video is going to really highlight a lot of what D'Amico Ryans also has done for the 49ers. So now let's watch the speed move. And this is, arguably the biggest defensive spot of the game for the 49ers. They're down 10-3 at this point. There are about 5 minutes left in the football game. It's third down and long for Aaron Rodgers. A first down here means that the Packers start to move into the mode of salting this game away. So the 49ers can't afford to let the Packers get a first down, right? That's the key of this play. Well, D'Amico Ryans decides to force the issue, and this is where D'Amico deserves a lot of credit. Over here on the right side, see Jimmy Ward. He's going to bring a safety blitz. 49ers only blitz 14% of the time in this football game. That was lower than their season-long blitz rate of 21%. But boy, did D'Amico pick his spots right. And you're going to see here with Jimmy Ward rushing off the edge and Nick Bosa on that wide 9 technique. Look how wide Sansom Ebukam is over here. I mean, Ebukam, they have to have this tight end as a slot receiver just to chip Ebukam. But the 49ers feign the blitz over the middle with Warner and Greenlaw. They're going to bring Ward off on the right side. And you see Armstead is going to crash here again against Lucas Patrick. But because the 49ers bring Ward, it confuses the Packers' protection. And there is a little crease for Armstead to slip through. And look how fast he burst through. There's Armstead's athleticism on display. Again, I said that blitz caused confusion. We'll take it in slow motion. Bosa worked against the right tackle. The right tackle's not sure if he should pick up Bosa or Jimmy Ward. And by domino effect, Lucas Patrick is not sure if he should pick up Bosa or Arik Armstead. And because of that split second of hesitation, you see right here, Nick Bosa has a crease. Nick Bosa doesn't have to use power this time. Nick Bosa activates the Jets. This is Eric Armstead doesn't need to use power this time. Eric Armstead activates the Jets. And from this point forward, you guys have already seen the video, but this is remarkable to me. From this point forward, Eric Armstead only needs 2 strides to get to Aaron Rodgers. 2 strides from this point forward. That's how quickly he can descend on the quarterback. That's special. 2 strides. He's there. Play over. So you give him an inch of daylight, and Eric Armstead is athletic enough to destroy Aaron Rodgers in that play just through the pure burst. And this is the same guy who backed the guard up into Aaron Rodgers on his other sack of the game. So in those 2 plays, you see this special combination that Eric Armstead brings to the table. And that special combination of skills is why the 49ers are the best run defense in football since he has moved to that defensive tackle position, because they've fortified the interior. And that's unlocked their ability to pass rush. That's put them into the pass rush situations that you see in plays like this one. You pin your ears back on 3rd and 11. You could bring Jimmy Ward, but you got to credit DeMeco Ryans for forcing the issue. Because if DeMeco doesn't bring Jimmy Ward, then the 49ers, they have to rely on power again. And maybe they do get to Aaron Rodgers, but I think that you can't use the same poison on every single down. You have to use different poison, especially against a guy like Aaron. You have to bring different blitz bullets, or else he's going to start recognizing them. And this time, DeMeco used the right one, and Eric Armstead continued the prolific month. He's sacking and hitting quarterbacks at will on top of that excellent run defense. So I have to ask, where's all the DeForest Buckner talk now? People are so loud to criticize. People are so sure that they're smarter than everybody else in the room when stuff isn't going well after DeForest Buckner notched that sack against Indianapolis. And they're willing to shell out all this criticism with no context. But now, we have a lot more context, and the context is slap people in the face, and nobody's talking that loud anymore. But I'll go ahead and go out and say it. The DeForest Buckner trade for the 49ers made sense from a roster management perspective. And from a roster and financial management perspective, because of that trade, they're able to set themselves up. Well, first they got the draft picks. You could disagree with the Kinlaw pick, but they were able to get Brandon Ayuk, and they're able to start paying guys that offseason that in a cap crunch they otherwise wouldn't have been able to pay. And now with Eric Armstead able to deliver both on the outside and in the inside, as we've seen, it makes total sense for the 49ers. The cap savings have helped them, and they're stronger now at run defense than they were at any point when DeForest Buckner was there. This 2019 team has a better run defense. This 2021 team has a better run defense than the 2019 49ers. And because of that, their defensive ceiling as we enter the conference championship game and then the Super Bowl might be higher than that 2019 team, which is crazy to say. They're definitely grittier as a football team, but that run defense being better right now with DJ Jones healthy, he wasn't at this point in 2019, that gives the 49ers a whole world of possibilities moving forward in this game and in this season. It's really cool stuff, and it goes back to big number 91 moving inside. So I remember the unnecessary negativity. I don't know if you do too, but maybe it's a reason that we shouldn't take a lot of these shots taken at 49ers players all too seriously. I know I engage with people, but I do it out of fun, and I do it out of fairness. I think that the appreciation for how difficult the sport of football is and for, some of the versatility that some of these guys is showing, I think it's necessary to go out and put that into context. And Eric Armstead is a great example of somebody who just got badgered and badgered and badgered for reasons that weren't that great. I mean, when he showed up in that 2015 season, the 49ers were terrible. They were bad in 2016. They didn't know where to play him. He was a situational third down edge rusher. In 2017, Shanahan and Lynch came in. That meant Robert Saleh too, and they told him to lose weight. Okay, go to the Leo position. Great. He was trying to play that speed rushing edge position, but then he broke his hand in the 2017 season. So that experiment ended prematurely. 2018, we start seeing Armstead, do his versatile thing, play everywhere. And he had a good year, but the 49ers still didn't have a good team, obviously. Garoppolo tore his ACL that year. So it wasn't until Chris Kasarik came in 2019 that the 49ers and Armstead, saw Armstead really, really take off. Because Kasarik came in and said, you guys need to just play with your hair on fire. You can't think. The 49ers were reading and reacting a little bit too much on the defensive line before then. But Kasarik really finished that line's transition into blasting off of the line of scrimmage. And Arik Armstead is a really smart football player. Arik Armstead is a guy that if you allow him to overthink, he probably will overthink it a little bit. But if you coach him to just go and hunt, which is what Chris Kasarik has done, he's going to go and hunt. And he had 10 sacks in 2019. And of course, he's hunting right here. There's no thinking right here. I timed it. I had the stopwatch out yesterday. That's 2.6 seconds for Arik Armstead in between snap and contact with Aaron Rodgers. It's literally impossible to get a pass off in that time, given the route tree that they're running in 2.6 seconds. I mean, that's 2.6 seconds, even though Rodgers, as you can see right here, is moving away from Arik Armstead. He still gets to him with those long strides in 2.6 seconds. So that has, been enabled by the fact that Chris Kasarik has come in and allowed the 49ers to play fast. It's unlocked Armstead's aggressiveness. It's showcased those instincts and that, just that pristine combination of power, leverage, and athleticism. And Kasarik deserves a lot of credit. Now, it looked like Armstead was going to start getting the respect that he deserved after that 2019 season. I mean, he got the contract that he deserved after that season. But unfortunately for him, DeForest Buckner got traded away 2 days after Armstead signed that contract. And that just created this toxic cesspool, right, of takes that just weren't rooted in any sort of actual fact. They're rooted in feeling. And we see a lot of fact over feeling stuff. We see it with Jimmy, feelings over fact stuff, right? I'm here to bring you the fact over feeling stuff. We see it with Jimmy Garoppolo. We see it with Eric Armstead. We see it with a lot of 49ers. We've seen it with Shanahan when people wanted him fired in the middle of the season. But if you look at the actual facts of the situation, that trade of DeForest Buckner really, to me, had nothing to do with choosing one player or the other. It was choosing multiple players and roster sustainability over the opposite, which was just having to pay everybody. I mean, in the salary cap era, you can't keep everybody. There have to be some opportunity costs. And the 49ers, it was a hard pill to swallow because they loved DeForest Buckner. But Eric Armstead was A, a little bit cheaper to keep, and B, they weren't going to get a first-round pick at the time for Eric Armstead. Well, now they might get a first-round pick if they decided to trade Eric Armstead. Not saying that they will, but his value has only increased since then. And in that 2020 season, there was no Bosa. Armstead had only 3.5 sacks. That led, that fueled the toxic negativity. I mean, there are reasons for a lot of this stuff. Armstead is getting double teamed with no Bosa out there. He's opening it up for Kerry Hyder, guys like that. But when people are only looking at sacks, they don't understand the full picture. And Armstead was still getting pressure. Armstead was still stopping the run. And Armstead was still one of the most versatile defensive linemen in football. So, it's one of it's one of those things that doesn't always show up on the stat sheet or the box score, but it shows up on the tape that we're watching right here. And I think that's, that's important to highlight about Arik Armstead, is that his impact may finally now be appreciated the way that it should be, now that he has those sacks, now that he has logged 6 sacks in the past calendar month, but it should have been appreciated a whole lot sooner. So where the hell's all the negativity now? I don't know. It's gone now because Arik Armstead's playing good football, and use that as a cautionary tale because there's a lot of unnecessary negativity elsewhere. We're trying to appreciate and we're trying to contextualize what the 49ers are doing as a football team, and it starts by highlighting performances like this. So subscribe to the channel and subscribe to The Athletic. Go check out the big article I have on Arik Armstead talking to his family, because it's all necessary stuff to understand the 49ers ahead of the NFC Championship game. A couple questions, and then I'm going to get going. You guys have any questions about Arik Armstead? He is sensational. Jared has always been a fan of him. I'm going to go through some of these questions, but you guys, come on, guys. Let's keep this a smart channel. I'm trying to make this intelligent football. If you like that, subscribe. We could save a lot of this argumentation that I see in the chat section for elsewhere. I don't see many questions. All right, guys. Yeah, you guys aren't asking anything, especially anything about Arik Armstead, and that was the whole point of this video, which is kind of disappointing, but we will continue on with our lives. All right, guys. Well, I'll answer a question about Debo. How much time will we see Debo off the field this week? As much rest as Debo needs, but otherwise you got to keep him on the field. I think that's really important. Do I think Jimmy Garoppolo will be here next year? Well, if the 49ers win the Super Bowl, I think he'll have a good chance of being around next year. As of right now, I think they like where Trey Lance is at. So that was the whole goal, right? To get Trey Lance as ready as possible this year. It's a decision the 49ers won't make until a little bit later. What happens with Armstead when Kinlaw comes back? Good. Finally, a good Armstead question. Thank you. When Kinlaw comes back, well, the 49ers, they're going to give Kinlaw probably one more shot unless they find a trade partner, because I think they really like Armstead on the inside. But Armstead, he might be even better, at that 5 technique spot. And then, on the kick inside for the passing down. See, he's so good everywhere, which kind of creates a little bit of a logjam and a problem. But don't discount how good Arik Armstead is at 5 technique, defensive end. That would be a mistake as well. And we may not have seen how good Kinlaw can be. He's been hurt the whole time. He's been hobbled by the knee injury. So I think they're going to see where Kinlaw's at camp and let, the camp shuffle itself out. It's a good thing, good problem to have too many capable defensive linemen. Yeah, all defensive linemen are healthy now. I think they're, guys are dealing with stuff like Jordan Willis, but it didn't stop him from becoming a hero on the pump block in that game against Green Bay. How big of an impact do you think Arik Armstead will have in the NFC Championship game? Well, he's going to have a huge impact. Well, here's the thing. Let's talk about this in terms of the championship game. The Rams managed, 62 rushing yards in Week 18? They were like 2.6 yards per carry in that game. The fact that the Rams could not run meant that the 49ers teed off on Matthew Stafford. They hit Matthew Stafford 13 times in that game. Matthew Stafford got squeamish in the pocket. He got inaccurate. His 2 longest passes were intercepted by the 49ers. And the whole reason behind that was because the 49ers, stopped the run and then pinned their ears back and got after him. So Arik Armstead was absolutely central to the 49ers win over the Rams. And if they can do that again, if they could tee off again on Matthew Stafford after stopping the run, then Stafford's going to make his mistakes. Because Jimmy Garoppolo is tougher than Matthew Stafford. I think that was very, very apparent in Week 18. Garoppolo got hit a ton. He came into the game hurt, and he got more accurate as proceedings went along. Stafford got less accurate as proceedings went along. So you have to take advantage of that weakness in the Rams. You have to take advantage of the fact that their quarterback doesn't necessarily thrive like most quarterbacks when he starts getting beaten up. And Armstead is a central figure to beating the other quarterback up. You have to win up front. The great neutralizer is that defensive line, but it has 2 jobs, stopping the run and then rushing the passer. Armstead is versatile, and he does both. Somebody just asked, and the comment disappeared. Does Armstead, right here, does Armstead remind me of Bryant Young? It's not a bad one. I mean, the thing about Armstead, though, is he's just so physically gifted. You don't see a guy that's 6'7", that's able to do what Arik Armstead does from a power perspective. That's why I showed that clip of Arik Armstead in power a little bit earlier. And then obviously, he's a people mover. He gets that from, his basketball background. He's able to box guys out. He's able to back guys down. But on top of being a people mover, Arik Armstead also has the burst. When D'Amico Ryan schemes up a nice blitz and opens up that little gap just to the left of the right guard of Lucas Patrick, then Arik Armstead can get to Aaron Rodgers in 2.6 seconds. I measured it. I got the stopwatch out. That's 2.6 seconds. Those are 6'7" strides. Bryant Young wasn't 6'7". That's why Arik Armstead is special. Jack Jackson sent in a tip, and he asked, can you tell me what's up with Trey Sermon and Jeff Wilson Jr.? Are they healthy or just in Shanahan's doghouse? They're just not as good as Elijah Mitchell and Deebo Samuel. I think, Trey Sermon especially is a rookie. Just they're not as good of an option. I think it's as simple as that. But thank you, Jack. Not everything's a doghouse situation. Sometimes it's just a performance situation. Sometimes there's reasons behind poor performance that are not linked to talent. Sometimes it's linked to talent. I think with Trey Sermon, you just don't have that burst that the 49ers would want for the outside zone. Yes, sir, Sir Juju. Arik Armstead is tall enough to bat balls out of the air. So you got 6'7" to bat balls out of the air, but the strides at 6'7". Again, in this video, from this point on, right here, it took Armstead 2 strides to reach Aaron Rodgers. 1, 2, he's already there. Corrals him. 2 strides to get to Aaron Rodgers, and that's a blink of an eye. That's some lightning explosiveness from a guy who also has the power of a stockier 300-pounder. And that's why that pairing of Armstead and DJ Jones is good. Run stop win rate for ESPN, number 1 in the league for defensive tackles, DJ Jones. Number 3 is Arik Armstead. So those long strides are huge. How does the Rams offensive line combat the 49ers defensive line? I feel if you give too much attention to Arik, it consequently will open up Bosa, Jones, and the rest of our line. Absolutely. And, for this, maybe we can go to a nice little quote from the article from Armand Armstead, who's Arik Armstead's older brother. He's talking about the matchup with DJ Jones. I'm going to read this off for you right here. The pairing with DJ Jones, I guess I should say. You have Armstead at 6'7" and DJ Jones at 6 feet 305 next to him. It creates a unique matchup ability, and that's what you want. When I played with Jarrell Casey, because Armand Armstead played with Jarrell Casey at USC, he was a big-time defensive tackle later on for the Titans, we'd ask each other, how'd you do that? Because he's 6 foot. How'd you get that leverage? I'm 6'5". How are you doing that? So when the 49ers have a combination of someone like DJ with his acceleration and strength and Arik, it's tough. Everyone has their strengths and weaknesses. Some guy who matches up with Arik might match up better with DJ. But when you've got to go against both of them, then you switch them out. One time it's DJ, one time it's Nick Bosa, one time it's Arden Key. It's tough, man. It gives them unique matchup abilities. That's what this 49ers defensive line is about. They hunt as a group. And because they hunt as a group, it's tough to handle them because they have diversified skill sets. And it took them a while to gel this year. But after they've gelled, you've seen what Arden Key has done. You've seen what Jordan Willis has done. And obviously, we've seen what Bosa's done all year. Past month, Armstead is getting those sacks too. So this is a championship group that the 49ers have. And Chris Kasarik has helped meld that talent together masterfully over the course of this season. I have no idea how much DJ Jones is going to want after this season, but I think he does deserve a lot. All right, guys. Thank you to Philip. If 49ers win their 6th Lombardi, does this season become their best season ever? And will they start losing players like Armstead to free agency afterwards? Well, Armstead's under contract still for 3 more years after this? You lose guys to free agency when their contract is up and because you run out of cap space. And the 49ers do have a slightly more difficult cap situation this next year before the cap theoretically will explode in 2023. So along those lines, that's why the Trey Lance shuffle is so appealing, because you might be able to open up some cap space with Jimmy Garoppolo coming off the books. That's all theoretical, right? But it's too early to talk about all this shuffling right now. because we don't know exactly how much money guys like DJ Jones will want. We do know that Nick Bosa is going to be eligible for a new contract. Deebo Samuel will be too. So 49ers have a lot of guys to pay. And that's why the Jimmy Garoppolo situation financially is one that might free up some money for them, which is why they want to develop Trey Lance as quickly as possible. The 49ers need a pick between DJ Jones and Arden Key. For the 2022 season, both are free agents. Again, it's going to depend so much on other parts of the financial spreadsheet. And I have a big financial spreadsheet up. It's on a Google Doc that it's free for everybody to view. So you could kind of get an idea of where the 49ers are. That's something that we'll talk about in the offseason, because right now we got the NFC Championship game to talk about. Arik Armstead is going to be a huge part of that NFC Championship game for the 49ers. If they're going to win, Arik Armstead needs to keep on doing what he's doing, stopping the run, rushing the passer, and then potentially the 49ers have the Super Bowl to talk about after that. All right, we'll finish it up with a Garoppolo question. Do I feel that Jimmy Garoppolo will have a good game this Sunday? Yeah, I think he's going to have a tough performance, in not in a bad way. I think that he's going to show his grittiness again, as he's shown really this whole entire season, but especially since the torn thumb ligament. He played with an injury against the Rams, and he outperformed Stafford back in week 18. He played hurt with 2 injuries since he hurt the shoulder, and outperformed Dak Prescott in the wild card round. And then he went into Lambeau Field and outperformed Aaron Rodgers in crunch time this past weekend. So Jimmy Garoppolo's been tough. Jimmy Garoppolo's been giving the 49ers the offensive glue that they need to perform. And just imagine where the 49ers would be if they hadn't dropped all those passes against Green Bay in the wild card, in the divisional round. They'd still be in the NFC Championship game, obviously, but we'd be in a whole different area of discourse, right? The 49ers would have won that game relatively handily. People would have much less fuel to kind of slander Jimmy Garoppolo for not a lot of reason, let's be honest. Garoppolo went 8 of 10 for 88 yards in the Lambeau Ice in the second half. Aaron Rodgers went 8 of 13 for 55 yards. He outplayed Aaron Rodgers down the stretch on the road in Lambeau Field in the 5th coldest postseason game in that stadium's history. Yet people are still finding a way to take shots and complain, which just shows you negativity runs the world these days. But negativity isn't correct a lot of the time. So let's keep that all into perspective. I do think Garoppolo will have a good game against the Rams, but it's going to be tough, and he's going to need Trent Williams. It might not be a pretty game. And guess what? Joe Montana's NFC Championship wins weren't always pretty either. He threw 3 interceptions before Dwight Clark made the catch in January of 1982. Montana turned the ball over 3 times as the 49ers beat the Bears to make the Super Bowl in January of 1985. Steve Young was carried by his defense in January of 1995 when he beat the Dallas Cowboys. It wasn't a pretty offensive game from Young from the efficiency perspective, but the point is that quarterbacks need their team because this is a team sport. There's never in the history of the game been a quarterback to win something without the help of his team. Even Mahomes against the 49ers needed a decent defensive performance. It's just the truth of the matter, guys. People want to assign credit in a black and white fashion, just not the way this sport works. So learn the game, enjoy the game, appreciate the game. And when you do, you appreciate that this is a team effort. And I do think that Jimmy Garoppolo is going to have a good game for the 49ers within the context of the team on Sunday against the Rams. All right, guys. They did not have bad throws who didn't have bad throws like Jimmy Garoppolo does? Well, I hate this perception that he's the only quarterback that has bad throws and throws interceptions. Aaron Rodgers had some bad throws the other day. Aaron Rodgers almost got picked by K'Wan Williams. It probably should have been picked by K'Wan Williams. It's just got to stop this. Garoppolo's the only quarterback ever that makes mistakes. It's just not the case. It's not rooted in reality. It's not true. So we need to appreciate the aggregate, the entirety of what's going on. And, we'll bring this back to Arik Armstead. And people haven't for years appreciated the entirety of what Arik Armstead has brought to the table. And now I think people are finally appreciating the entirety of what Arik Armstead has brought to the table. And I think at other positions that'll come along too with more success and more wins, which is why we have this video of Arik Armstead blasting through the line of scrimmage. I think the 49ers want to see him doing more of this against the Rams. And I think I have to get going. So thanks for everybody and your participation. You guys are the best. Everybody subscribe to the channel. We'll talk to you next time. And also go and subscribe to The Athletic. Check out that big article on Arik Armstead. I'll talk to you soon.